If we could, we got Bobby is sharing this morning, and we've got Tracy helping out as well. She'll be assisting and reading and leading the readings and the responsive reading. I want to remind everybody we will have a couple of openings for the board. So we've got one specific one maybe. So if there's a board opening, if you're interested, let us know. So we got Bobby today, and next up for the fourth Sunday in September, Kenneth is going to be talking about loneliness, which, given the times, may not seem that bizarre. There's a lot of very, very, very lonely, and that translates into anger and other things as well. So we'll be talking about that. Social justice community, we have several people. We'll be organizing that at the end of the month. And so if you're still interested in being on the social justice community, please let me know before we get organized. Let me remind everybody we've got Connections, one more meeting of Connections this month. We've got book club every Saturday at 10:30. And we've been doing a lot of pastoral care. And I want you all to know that I've been visiting with Cindy Deach regularly. Cindy, as you can imagine, been going through a lot. And it's a whole bunch of things are pulling at her, and she's found that I'm one person that she could talk with and settle down. So I want you to know we've been continuing a lot of pastoral care. A lot of people are feeling lonely and just it's not come together. These are tough times, and I'm glad the congregation understands calls and texts work. Okay, we're having a special Sunday for Larry on October 26th. We'll be using music he liked, including ending with Dale. I don't know if you've ever heard of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. I don't know if any of you've ever heard of them. They were very popular in the 50s. They had a very, very famous song, Happy Trails to You, Until We Meet Again. And that's what we'll end on. He loved that song, and he was connected with him at a point from horses and things like that. Okay, just a couple of other things. I did not think I was going to be teaching this semester. It has been a total mess. 5 days before the semester began, I had two classes, one with 11 and one with 16. Nobody knew what the numbers were going to be for the minimum you could make. It was a mess. That's the best I can put it. You don't want to know the politics of it all. So 5 days later, I went from 11 and 16 to 27 and 30 in 5 days. The good news is the students are fabulous. The system, I'm not saying is beyond prayer. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the system is, but the students I have are really, really, really good. So I'll be again working with two groups of students, 27 and 30, on world religion, and what they've handed in so far has been really, really good. Let me say that that's also a way that I keep educated. I actually read what they write. And so that keeps me a lot up to date that ordinarily I wouldn't be up to date with. And I want to share that. That's kind of a continuing ed. My philosophy has always been a good teacher is always a good student. And when as a teacher you cease being a student, I don't think you should be teaching anymore, honestly. Okay, and finally, I don't often mention this, but I really, really am beginning to be a little alarmed. I never mentioned giving much. Because we have a lot of members who really, really are just barely making it, and I'm very, very sensitive about that. But I just want to say, for those of you who have an ability to give a little more, our giving is just about holding its own. And in many ways, even though we're virtual, we are in many ways more than half time. Pastoral care really is a full-time thing when you think about it. I mean, you see, I visited 300 and some people this year so far. That's really full time. And you've got Connections, you've got book club that meets every week. Tracy will be meeting a few kids today this afternoon. I mean, we've got things going on that you wouldn't think could happen in a virtual group. So if you can think of any way a little bit more to give to us, it would be deeply, deeply appreciated. Okay, having said all that, I would like you to get, now wait a minute. Sorry for that. I made the mistake last night of getting talked into by myself and my wife a place that makes excellent chicharron. And I went and got chicharron and in a rainstorm lost my driver's license and debit card. I didn't realize that till this morning and have now been at. So I forgot the candle. Sorry. Let us take some serious moment. And this is the first time I think I've done this in a long, long time, asking you to light a candle for our country. There are kind people and good people everywhere. You wouldn't know that right now. But there are kind people and good people everywhere. And though you would not know it from the very, very top, the country has many, many, many good qualities which are being lost. And kindness and humility and compassion and understanding can be part of us. And that's being tested. So if you would light a candle for our country, remembering that we have weathered very bad times before, and praying that we will weather this one equally as well, if you would. What does Michelle always say? Amen, Ashe, blessed be, may it be so, and may we be the ones to make it so. Amen. Our opening music this morning, thanks to, we do the call to worship. I'm sorry, our call to worship. This is by Cynthia Langston Kirk, and we want to ask Grimmy to pull it up and let us read together for those of you who wish. Donald, are you with us?
Yeah, sorry about that. The computer froze. I'm just pulling it up now.
We've never seen that happen. You had quite a look there. That was absolutely fascinating. It was like we found you in a time capsule from 5,000 years ago. I mean, it was amazing. It was like doing an Egyptian excavation. It was very, very cool.
Arctic frozen.
Yes.
That link, it didn't pull up a video though. The link that's for Hills and Valleys.
Okay, can we see the morning prayer now?
No, you're at the very end. You're at the bottom.
But we can see the document?
Yeah, but we're at the bottom of the document.
Okay, let me fix.
Oh, that's a different.
Okay, everybody, if we could read this together, those of you who wish, the green. Welcome to a time of wonder and music that calls us home. Welcome to hear God's words that inspire and challenge, and to be reminders that we are offered holy hospitality. Hospitality that teaches us how to open our lives to others, leading us to fully live. Open minds, open hearts, open doors. Selah. And for those who would wish to do a morning prayer, we could read again the green together. We stand in awe of people who showed hospitality in the midst of sacrifice and betrayal. Take us deep into the heart of hospitality. Help us to understand that the generosity the world needs often demands sacrifice on our part. But with those who have never known a table blessed by laughter and welcome, who have seldom heard affirmations, and who do not know your abiding love, Remind us, O God, that we are set to set many tables, to speak blessings often, and to be loved in the world. Selah. I want to thank Bobby for the music today. Bobby picked the music and the readings as well as the share, and I think you'll find the music, as usual, lovely. Dr. Barrett.
Our reading this morning is by Francis Weller from The Wild Edge of Sorrow. Deep in our bones lies an intuition that few arrive here carrying a bundle of gifts to offer to the community. Over time, these gifts are meant to be seen, developed, and called into the village at times of need. To feel valued for the gifts with which we are born affirms our worth and dignity. In a sense, it is a form of spiritual employment. Simply being who we are confirms our place in the village. That is one of the fundamental understandings about gifts. We can only offer them by being ourselves fully. Gifts are consequences of authenticity. When we are being true to our natures, the gifts can emerge. And now I invite you to join me in the responsive reading as you wish. The creative act is a letting down of the net of human imagination
into the ocean of chaos in which we are suspended, and the attempt to bring out of it ideas.
It is the night sea journey, the lone fisherman on a tropical sea.
With his nets, and let those nets down. Sometimes something tears through them and leaves them in shreds, and
you just row for shore and put your head under your bed and pray.
At other times, what slips through are the minutiae, the minnows of this metaphor of idea chasing.
But sometimes you can actually bring home something that is food.
Food for the human community that we can sustain ourselves on and go forward.
Someone told me recently that a commentator of some sort had said, quote, "The United States is in a spiritual freefall." When people make such remarks, such appalling judgments, they never include themselves, their friends, those with whom they agree. They have drawn, as they say, a bright line between an us and a them. Those on the other side of the line are assumed to be unworthy of respect or hearing, and are in fact to be regarded as a huge problem to the us who presume to judge them. This tedious pattern has repeated itself endlessly through human history and is, as I have said, the end of community and the beginning of tribalism. From Marilynne Robinson, when I was a child, I read books.
Good morning, all souls. Up in the mountaintop, down in the valley. When I first picked this topic to discuss weeks and weeks ago, I had no idea how timely and how appropriate it would be on this day at this time. There really is something to higher powers, things that I don't control through the power of my brilliant mind, to speak to you today at a time when things are so heated, things are so divided, things feel like they're coming to an edge, things feel like they're sort of coming apart. And here we are. Let's first talk about the mountaintop, being on the mountain. The mountaintop is the place where your passion resides. This is a place that we at All Souls spend a lot of time in the mountaintop. It's social justice work. It's having a passion to do what's right, to fix the world, to make things better. It's marches and protests, online organizing, policy advocating, and maybe even something like the social justice group that we're trying to start here. Work on the mountaintop is exhilarating. It is energizing, and it is righteous. You feel that righteous zeal that you're doing something that is good for you and it's good for humanity. Now, there's many benefits to being on the mountaintop. It builds collective power, and we do get strength from each other. There's an excuse me, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. Being on the mountaintop helps clarify purpose, and it also sparks the vision that you need to keep doing the work that you're doing. But, and there's that magic word, but, there's dangers to staying on the mountaintop all the time. The first one is simply burnout. You're a human being and you just can't keep pushing and fighting and marching and pushing and fighting 24/7 all the time. You will burn out. Second is that when you spend all your time on the mountaintop, you're only listening to the same things all the time. It's called echo chamber. People that agree with you, and you're agreeing with each other, and the ideas and the things are bouncing back and forth, but it's the same thing. And when you're in an echo chamber, there's always the possibility that you're missing something, because no one, no matter how righteous your cause and how good your purpose, is 100% right. I remember when I grew up in New York City in the 70s and 80s, and there seemed to be police shootings of young Black men almost every month. It was really bad. The Black community was inflamed. They were angry, they were hurt. And one of the common themes that we would hear constantly when things were happening was, why did they have to shoot him? Why did the police have to shoot him? Why did they have to kill him? Why couldn't they have shot him in the leg? Why couldn't they have shot him in the arm? Why couldn't they have shot the gun out of his hand or the knife out of, why did they have to do that? And it was plausible, and people spoke from a place of pain. But when I became a New York State peace officer and went through the training, and I learned that, number one, that's how you are taught to hit what they call center mass, because it's the easiest and biggest target. You are not taught to shoot limbs. Shooting limbs is a very, very dangerous thing. It only really happens in the movies, and maybe, I guess, SWAT or maybe Green Berets or Navy SEALs can do that. But the average officer cannot do that. They cannot shoot people in the leg and the arm. So I learned all of a sudden, something that I hadn't thought about before became a reality. So that's the kind of thing that happens when you're in the mountaintop all the time. Now, the opposite of the mountaintop is the valley. In the mountaintop, you're often fighting against institutions, administrations, large organizations. But the valley is the workplaces, dinner tables, barbershops, churches, the checkout lines. And very important in our modern world, the valley is social media and online comment threads. These are the places where the beliefs crash and clash, and your patience is tested. But it's in the valley. That's where growth lives, and that's where grace lives. And grace, and you need grace, because grace is depending on a power that's higher than your own. Because I have to say personally that I cannot live in the valley very long just on my own strength. I've been doing Black history seminars for a couple of years now since I moved down to Florida. And in doing my research, I uncover things that's happened in America, not too some long ago, some not that long ago, that I simply did not believe. I said, they couldn't have did this and nobody said anything. They couldn't have done this and nobody reported it. They couldn't have done this and I was never taught this. So I spent a lot of time on my own strength, learning and telling people things, but it made it very difficult for me to stay in the valley with people who were diametrically opposed to the things that I believed in the mountaintop. The valley is messy, the valley is emotionally taxing, and it can be very unrewarding in the short term. It can be. You face apathy. The valley, you can face resistance from people who agree with you because they see you empathizing with the enemy. And of course, hostility from the people on the other side, the enemy. The valley is very, very difficult. And to be honest with you, I don't think everybody can do work in the valley. But I'm speaking to a group that's here on a Sunday morning, and Sunday morning groups are special. You're not here to hear a history lesson, a philosophy lesson. You're here because Sunday morning we gather together and there's synergy in the gathering, and there also is a higher power, whatever that higher power may be to you. But when you combine all that together, it gives you a strength, a vision to be one of the people that can work in the valley. Because at this time, in these days, we need people who need to work in the valley. The valley is the place where hearts are changed. The valley is the place where some of the hardest hearted people get their hearts softened. And the polarization can be lessened by people who are willing to work in the valley. Now, how do we do this very, very taxing work? The simplest thing is being willing to listen. And when I say listen, I don't mean agree with. I don't mean stop talking until the person stops talking so you can start talking. I mean, listen to what the person is saying. Because what happens is human beings, we're not intellectual creatures, we're more emotional creatures. And a lot of the things that are happening and are being said and are being promulgated now come from people's emotion, be it fear, be it anger, be it love. It's the emotions that are driving us. And then the words and the intellect and all of that comes after the emotion. So you listen to hear what's the emotion behind what a person might be saying. You have to be curious. You simply have to be curious about other people and why would they think the way they do. So the natural curiosity helps. Using shared experiences is a very, very good way to sort of work in the valley, because here in America, we do have a shared culture and we do have shared experiences. I live in a community where everybody is retired more or less. So that's a shared experience. Everybody goes to the doctor 10 times a week. That's another shared experience. We do have things that we share, and we can use these things to make a link, to make a bond, to sort of move the conversation ahead. And when you get to know people, the barriers get lowered, the heat gets lessened as people get to know you personally. And it's sometimes you have to use what's called a tactical empathy. You really have to use it. It's a tactic. You haven't given up on your principles. You haven't given up of all the things that you do on the mountaintop. But when you're down in the valley, you can listen and listen to hear what is it that hurts them? What is their pain? What is their perspective? Where are they coming from? How have they been taught? How have they been lived? And all of those things will help with understanding because there's a well-known quote, and I think it was from Theodore Roosevelt. He said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So it's the caring about your neighbor. It's your caring about your coworker. That's the start. That's the start. Everything comes from there. Now, just briefly, the mountaintop and the valley, there's an interplay between the two. As we spoke earlier, you can't spend all your time in the mountaintop, but you can't spend all your time in the valley either. They balance each other. You have to spend time in both, and it makes you better at both. The mountaintop gives you the why, but down in the valley, you get the how. So if you are wise, you have to know and have to sense when it's time to climb and when it's time to descend. Climb and descend. That is really the life of a fully committed, socially conscious human being. Rise and descend. Rise and descend. Because frankly, not that we are better than anyone else, but there's not enough people that are willing to try and do this sort of work, rise and descend. People are comfortably on their mountain and stay there. No one wants to go into the valley and make the work. And as we saw by some of the readings that we had there, we will never have a community. We will never have a nation. And it even gets to the point in big picture, we won't have a world if people just stay stuck in their one place. Now, I say all of this, but it's hard to walk this walk. The things that have been happening this week, especially, it's very difficult. I find it personally difficult when I have people online on my feed that I know posting things that are personally, not only are they wrong, they're offensive, they're hurtful, and it's constant. And I've had, I'd say in the last 3 or 4 days, I see a comment, I make a response, then I delete it. Then I see another comment from another person, and I make a response, and then I delete it. My work in the Valley is not to contribute to the flames and fire that seems to be out here right now, even though it hurts when it's people that know you. And that's what you say. You say, you know me. You've worked with me. You've lived with me. You know me. How can you say something like that? How can you enable so much hatred and so much prejudice and so much bias? How can you be so blind? And I'd say last night, I got a text from a young lady that I worked with for years. And I'm Black, she's white. I really worked with her. She wasn't the easiest person to work with, but I had her back. And once I retired, kept in contact, she's on Facebook, but she began posting these things that how could you say this? How could you say these things? And back and forth, and it just got ugly. And since this recent incident that happened with this assassination, she started posting again. And what I did, rather than respond to her like I normally feel like I should, I went to my Valley work and I just tried to reach out to her, which wasn't easy because I'm angry. And last night, I just like to read the post that I did get from her. And this is what she said, and it just let me know I must be doing work in the Valley. She said, Bobby Vance, I'm always happy to listen to your side of things. I don't always agree with Republicans just because they're Republicans. No one should be that gullible. I just think we should love each other even if we disagree. Politics shouldn't lead to hatred or violence. I'm friends with many people who disagree with me. I still love them. We just disagree. I don't need you to think exactly like me to love you. No one agrees with each other 100% of the time. I adore you and Carrie. I don't know what your political views are, and I don't need to. You're both awesome people who aren't only their politics. At that point, getting that text from a person who posted some of the most terrible, harsh, right-wing, biased posts that I've read in the last couple of years, to get that message from her, I said, okay, in some sense, I must have reached something in her. I don't really know what to do with it now, to be honest with you, now that she's there, but it's a start. So I just like to let everybody know that in this battle that we're in, we just don't win by who yells the loudest. I think we win by who stands the closest. Thank you.
Every so often, I think you'll agree with me, we get surprised by things we weren't expecting. Those moments can be deeply spiritual and deeply moving. And thanks to Bobby this morning, we had a moment that was deeply spiritual and deeply moving. Your final words, Bobby, were really, really, really just immortal. It's not how we yell, it's the closest we stand together. You brought with your words an authenticity and grace that moved beyond race, gender, specific ideology. You live what you say. That is so, so rare. And thank you. Reminds me of the Last Supper. They didn't know at the time it was going to be a Last Supper. And Jesus asked, in remembrance of me is not the way you and I think of remembrance. Remembrance is if I want you to pretend, not pretend or think if I'm right with you. Remembrance in Hebrew means the person is there. There. It's not like you're remembering something like the 4th of July. And this is the very same Jesus who wasn't so worried about words as he was about action. He washed people's feet at the Last Supper. Something everybody forgets. He washed feet. Let's remind ourselves that the feet were dirty, hairy. People wore sandals, rough feet, and he took time to wash feet. And asking them to remember him, asking him to remember somebody who cared for the poor, the unfortunate, the sick, the suffering, the tempted, and bereaved, all of us. And so as the people began to gather in the beginning, they took very, very simple plates, very simple pieces of bread, very, very simple cup. And they asked that we share a meal, a love meal, to build each other up, to give each other strength, to give each other comfort, hoping that Jesus' Spirit will be there to move them on. Not to yell, not to scream, but how do we become close? In that vein, then, we offer this bread and this cup to all souls. All souls. All souls. And then, as we often turn to our resident, we would-be theologian, Winnie the Pooh. Read after me, if you would. Promise me you'll remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think. God didn't promise days without pain, laughter without sorrows, sun without rain. But the divine did promise strength for the day, comfort for the tears, and light for the way. And Dr. Tracy will read our concluding prayer.
Our concluding prayer this morning is by our very own Andrea Hawkins Camper. In the beauty and the stillness of this day, may peace be in your heart, joy in your movements, faith in your breathing, and hope in your presence. Let us all be a wordless prayer of joyful dance and song, hailing the future, hailing creation. Selah.
Please stay afterwards for a moment of greeting after the final blessing. In All Souls fashion, we blend an old Irish benediction and a Hindu blessing. And now may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and may the rains fall softly on your fields. And when we meet again, may the divine in me greet and embrace the divine in you. May it be so. Amen. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so nice to hear somebody say something from the heart and give an academic lecture from the pulpit. Oh, God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ah. Thank you, Inaki. I know you're not feeling well today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Dr. Barrett, as always. Felix, good morning to you. Grimmy, good morning to you and your computer. It needs to be exercised. There's Good morning, Ray. Good morning, Ray in Washington Heights. Good morning, Nikki Lindquist. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Tell your mom we were asking for her, if you would. Chris Diaz gave us an incredible introduction to raising chickens in Miami. It was unbelievable. He's going to send us some pictures. Alan and Eddie are in New York. Maureen is down here. They're in Manhattan, I believe. And Pat is in Forest Hills, New York. Pat and Care is in Miami. Danny Sorkin is in Forest Hills. Cindy Deitch is with us, with whom we send much, much love, love, love.
Vance,
Yes.
this is Cindy. I just wanted to thank you for staying in touch with me. I'm sorry, I just wanted to thank you so much. And Bobby, your message was wonderful.
I told Cindy we've got her back and we will stay with her. We will just stay with her. That's what we do.
Well, you know, Ken, when people are mean to me, I don't cry. But when people are nice, then I cry. So just be mean to me and then I won't cry.
We're not going to be mean to you at all. Don't be. We'll give you big hugs from a distance. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And Cecilia Alessandro's with us as well. Thank you all so much. Remember, we've got connections. We've got book club. We've got Dr. Tracy's meeting with some people, young people this afternoon, and we've got another sermon coming up on loneliness, which is in many ways parallel to what Bobby was saying. Blessings all. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everyone. Have a good
Bye-bye.
week.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good week.
Good week, everyone.